Hello, hello, ladies. A few of you are coming in, still connecting. Hello, happy Sunday. It's so good to see you guys here. I know there's going to be more jumping on here shortly. Hello, Janice. Good to see your face. So good to see you here, Francine, Christy. Hello, Marianne. Hello. So good to see you guys. I would love if you are able to. I know it's Sunday afternoon. There's a lot of other things going on. A lot of us are moms. I totally get it. If you are able to, I would love for you to turn on your camera so I can see your face. If you're not able to, totally understand. Totally get it. But if you're able to, I would love to see you. Okay, we're having more and more people coming in. Yay, I'm so excited. I'm so happy you're here. Okay, these are just coming in. I'm just going to give it a second here. Hello, Francine, it's good to see your face. Hello, gorgeous. Shay, welcome. Gina, oh my gosh, I love seeing you guys. Oh my heck, I'm so excited. Okay. Yes, Marianne, I can send you, let me copy the link real quick for you, and I will actually just message it to you really quick. Give me just 1 second, okay? That way you can have it in the place where you need it. Thanks for hanging in there with me, ladies. All right. All right, I just sent it to you. Let me know if that works. Okay, as we get going, okay, thank you for your patience. I would love to hear, type in the chat where you're from and what, I want to hear two things. Number one, I want to hear where you're from, where you're tuning in from. Number two, I want to hear what you are hoping to get from this free training. And if you're just here for love and support and encouragement, I'd love to hear that too. But I would love to hear, all of us that are here are coaches. So I know that for a fact. So I would love to hear where you're from, what you're hoping to get from this today. I want to hear in the chat. This is going to be very communicative. Is that even a word? We're going to be communicating a lot together. Like, I'm not just talking at you. We're literally having conversation here. So I really want to just preface that right off the bat. I'm going to open up my chat. So I'm going to wait for some answers in the chat where you're tuning in from. Gina is from Southern California. Love, support, and learn something new. Can there be a better answer? Love, support, and learn something new. I love it. Gina, I'm so happy to see you here. Who else? I would love to see where you're from, what you're hoping to get from here. Marianne from Texas. Ooh, Marianne, what part of Texas do you live in? I feel like I should know this, but I don't. And to learn something new. Yay. Shay is from Utah. Woo woo. Here to love and support you and see something new, gain some fun new information. Yes, so good. Christy, Melbourne, Florida, here to learn from you. Yes, a little south of Fort Worth. Oh, so awesome. Okay. Jamie says from Kentucky, I'm ready to take it all in, soak it all in. I love it. I love it. Janice from Alberta, Canada, to learn something new. Isn't it amazing? That's one of the things I love so much about learning from other coaches is like everybody kind of has their own little tweaks and like things that they've learned and ways that they do things. And I think it's so fun. I have this belief of like ideas in equal ideas out. And so I always love to get like ideas and ways that work for you and ways that work for you and like different, just to get wheels turning, not necessarily like, okay, you're doing it, so that means I have to do it too. But just like ideas of, it just gets my wheels turning of like, oh, I wonder what I could do with that, or gives me ideas. I just love it. I love it. Love it. Cool. Thank you. So I highly encourage you to write down notes, be super active in the chat during the event today. So I know that some of you might not be able to, but I would love, because there's been a few tune in since I said this last time. I would love if you would turn your camera on so that I can engage with you, see your beautiful face. Marianne says, I'm not being successful as I need. ID and password. Oh, okay. So to get on here, let's see. Weird. Okay. ID and password. Yeah, I don't know why it's having you do an ID and password from. Yeah, Marianne, let me know. Christy, it's so good to see your face. Marianne, let me know if you need any other support. I don't really know. I don't do it from my phone a whole lot, so I'm not sure. But yeah, hopefully it'll work out. Okay. So as we're getting, there it is. Hello. Good to see your face.
I'm just on my phone.
You're on your phone. Okay, cool. That works great. All right. Let me get I'm trying to set up to where I can see my notes, but also see the chat and everything that I need to see. Okay. First of all, I want to preface this by asking, how many of you would like the fast track to scaling your business? Put a yes in the chat. Yes. Christy says yes. Anybody else? I know there's like lag time. Shay, yes. Jamie, yes. Janice, yes. I told you guys, I'm literally not talking at you. We're talking together. So I'm going to be waiting for your comments in here. Marianne says yes. Christy, yes. So good. Okay. How many of you would like to make not only more income, but more impact? If that's you, put a me in the chat. Say me. And I know every single one of you that are here are absolutely going to say yes, because we wouldn't be doing this as a business if we didn't want impact too, right? Like, this is the wrong career to choose if you don't want impact and you just want money. It's like, you need to find something else to do, because that's just not what we do here. Yes, Gina, me. Jamie, me. Boom, baby. Marianne, me. Janice, me. Shay, me. Amen. Amen. All right. How many of you would like to do that sooner rather than later? Give me like a head nod and say yes. Yes. Same. Okay. So, okay, we're having more people join. Let me just let them in so they're not. Okay. So we're like, yes. Okay. If you can condense time for me and get this cash flow coming in quicker, please tell me how to do that. Right. I think back to, and I know a lot of you are going to relate to this. Like, I think back to when I was first starting my coaching business, and it's like, when you're in that place of like, you did it, you invested like all this time, all this money, all this energy into this business. And then like, before you sign that first client, I remember thinking like, what if I can't sign anybody? Like, do you remember, did you question that in your business, wondering like how you're going to get that first client? Man, I remember those feelings of excitement, but also of like fear and so much unknown of like, I did this. I felt the Lord calling me to do this, leading me to do this, but like, oh my gosh, like signing a client. How do I do that? Like, you're doubting if you should have even done this. I don't know about you. For me, it was like, I was doubting of like, man, should I have even done this? Starting to question so many things. And the doubt is creeping in like more and more and more. Do you know what I mean? Like, have you ever experienced those feelings? Especially if you go very long without signing one, or like you sign one, then you go a period without again. You're like, oh my gosh, that was a fluke. Or like, I really don't have what it takes. Like, your brain just starts like spiraling into all these negative places. I'm seeing head nods of like, okay, I'm not the only one. So for me personally, when I was in that place, what's cool is I was working with a coach at the time who helped me to walk through, literally holding my hand, showing me what I needed to do to sign that first client. Like, she literally got into my brain, she got into my beliefs, into the patterns, into like what was there blocking me, and walked me through overcoming those things, right? So like many of you, you've got beliefs that are blocking you or holding you back. Do you know, like, okay, I've got some beliefs there, I've got some things, maybe you've signed clients, but you know that there's something there that's kind of hindering or maybe pushing the brakes a little bit, that's holding you back. Put a yes in the chat if you have had that now, or if you've had that in the past. I'm seeing head nods and fingers typing. Yes. Janice, yes. Jamie, yes. Shay, yes. Christy, yes. I know I have to. Yes. So good. Okay. So when I was walking through that, she taught me and helped me to see things that I couldn't see. And I know you guys have experienced that in one way or another. And like, where exactly to find that first client, like how to approach the conversation, what energy to hold, what beliefs to hold, like all of these things, right? And that was really my first taste. So like, after I signed that client, walked through these things and signed that first client, it was like, OMG, like this actually works. Like, do you remember that feeling? Like, if you've signed a client, like your very first client, do you remember that feeling of just like that excitement, that euphoria, that like, oh my gosh, this actually is a thing. Like, it's going to work. I'm in business. Like, I'm doing this. Do you remember those feelings? Like, I can still tap into those, like nerve-sighted butterflies in my stomach. Like I remember that feeling. So doing that, walking through that, it then taught me and led me to being able to sign more clients, right? So then that led me to my next concern on my journey as a business owner and as a coach and all the things of like, okay, so how am I going to maintain this? Like, what is this really going to look like? You know, signing client number 2, signing client number 3, or even like 6 months down the road. Like, how am I going to continue doing this long term? It's like I got over that first hump and then it's like, oh my gosh, I got to do it again. I got to do it again. Like, how am I going to keep doing this? Right? Like, do you remember being there? Or have you ever been there wondering like, what's next? Like, how can I do this again? Like maybe you're questioning if that was just a fluke or it's not going to last. Like I remember having those thoughts of like, oh, I just got really lucky. Like I'm not going to be able to keep doing. Like I remember having these really negative thoughts and I realized some of the biggest things that I was struggling with was the belief that there were only so many people in my circle of influence. I don't know if you can relate to that or like that people would run out eventually. Like there were already so many coaches out there. Why would somebody choose me? Have you ever had thoughts like that? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of head nods. Put a yes. Gina's like, yes, nerve-sighted. Put a yes in the comment. Jamie says, yes, indeed. Yes. Christy says, yes. Shay, yes. Okay. Or even thoughts like, my husband at the time worked a full-time job. I have 2 young kids. Like, I have so many things going on. Like, how am I going to make time for this? You know, like just the thoughts of like, okay, now I'm kind of freaking out because I actually did sign a client. I actually do have proof that this works. And like, now what, right? What's wild is that just like the belief blocks that I had in signing my very first client, overcoming those belief blocks was the same process, right? It looked very different, but it was the same process. And I'm going to obviously working with a coach, right? Like a coach, which is what I was doing at the time, like a coach does that. Is my hand raised? I just realized my hand is raised. I'm raising my own hand. I have a question over here. I have a question. That's so funny. I don't know how my hand raised. Oh, Zoom is amazing, isn't it? Okay. Anyways, so I continued. So going through these, realizing what was the blocks for me, right? I continued to sign clients. They just kind of kept coming in. They kept flowing in one after another that led, to 2, led to 3, led to 4, and so on. And a year into my business, it led me to then needing to overcome my next problem, which was like, I overcame the struggle of consistently signing clients, right? And so the income coming in and continuing to grow led me to chasing my next dream, which actually was my dream, but it was also mine and my husband's dream together, but it was moving our family. Have you ever had a big dream of doing something huge for your family? Like maybe moving or buying a home or your husband being able to have the freedom to leave his job or get a different job. Like throw a yes in the comments if you've ever had a big, huge dream for your family. If you've like had one in the past, or if you have one now, I'm hoping everybody, yes. Janice, yes. Gina, yes. Shay, oh yeah. I love that. Marianne, yes. Jamie, yes. I have one now. Alicia, yes. So good. So good. Okay. In that season, this was about 2 years ago, 1 year into my business, 2 years ago now, we almost exactly, actually, it was in the beginning of April. So it's crazy to think it's been almost exactly 2 years ago. We went on the road and I wanted to pursue my dreams. Like I wanted to be able to make all this money, move our family away from, we were in Wyoming at the time. We didn't want to stay there. My husband was able to walk away from his full-time, 6-figure job that was very safe and secure and like all the things that society told us was stupid and crazy to do. And we did it. And we started doing it, but I questioned, like, was this actually possible? I quickly found that when we got on the road, we traveled around in our RV in with a goal to find where we wanted to plant roots, where we wanted to land. And we, at the time, only had 2 little kids. And I quickly found that once we got going on the road, I had really crappy Wi-Fi. And I was worried that I was going to lose all of my clients and not be able to continue to grow my business. And it was all going to be over, right? Because growing a coaching business where you literally do your calls over Zoom, like Wi-Fi is kind of important. Like you kind of need to have it, right? And I realized Gina's like, yes, I can so relate. I realized that like, okay, the one thing I need to like actually do this, I don't have good access to. It's all going to be over. Like I had all these like drama thoughts of like, oh my gosh, I finally stepped out in this dream. I knew I shouldn't have done it. Like I had all of these negative thoughts coming in. Do you know when you get excited about something and then a life event comes up and you don't think that you're going to be able to continue coaching? Like all the fears, all the doubts start creeping in. Have you ever had that experience? Give me a yes in the comments if you've had that experience before. All the time, Alicia says. Shay, yes. All capitals. Gina, yes. Jamie, yes. Yes. Isn't it crazy how like this literally happens to everybody? It happens to everybody. It's all, and what I've experienced, like these are just a few, what I've shared with you so far. These are just like a few little key pieces of my story over the last 3 years. Obviously, there's so much more. But it's all levels. Each new level that you hit, new beliefs surface, right? Like, have you ever noticed that in your life? Like, especially as a coach, you're constantly doing the work. You're constantly like finding these beliefs, and you find like, okay, for me, it was like, okay, I got over this. I got over this hump. I got over this hurdle, and it's like, okay, we're doing good. And then it's like, you get to a new level, and then it's like all these like either old beliefs or new beliefs like resurface. And you're like, what the crap? I thought I overcame all of these. Like, okay, like it's like an onion, right? It's like levels. So I have really found this. And like I said, this is just a couple of pieces. I don't want to go into so much detail of all the things I've been through in the past 3 years to grow a, over 6-figure business. But going through these things really helped me to create this resilience to keep growing my business and to have the cash flow coming in the midst of all of this. I think back to, still continuing to grow my business as we were traveling and moving. Like after that, we came back to Utah, settled for a bit, thought we were going to stay here, moved to Texas for a period of time, didn't love it there, moved back to Utah, like all of this. And in the midst of having another baby, all of these things these steps that I've walked through, I have been able, not that it's not been ups and downs like it always is, but I have been able to have consistent cash flow coming into my business through all of it, right? There has been times where it was a little more than others, but there's never been a time where I have not had cash flow coming in and been able to still show up and work my business. And so I didn't realize, but then I kind of stepped back and realized like, not everybody is able to do that. Not everybody's been able to find that consistency and not let these big life events, come in and kind of take over and let the thoughts and the beliefs and the negativity, right? And so that's where this whole thing was kind of birthed, was I found a way through all of this to continue doing this. So this is where, are you ready to hear the blueprint? Okay, I'm going to share with you this blueprint. Let's get to it. All of that was like preface. Are you ready for the actual like meat and potatoes of this thing? Put a me in the chat if you're ready to dig into the system, the blueprint. Me, Shay, I love it. Janice, me. Marianne, me. Okay. So this blueprint is Gina, me, yes. Alicia, me too. All right. A few of you are not answering. Are you with me? Are you here? You still following through? I told you guys, like, we're literally in this, doing this. Okay, cool. So good. Okay. I love it. Okay. So this blueprint that literally, I feel like Holy Spirit just like showed to me of like, Karen, these are literally the steps that you walked through. And still, I even still walk through this now in this phase of my business, that I walk through these 4 steps, literally rinse and repeat to grow and continue navigating these layers that come up as new layers of your business and new layers of you are birthed through going through this. Okay. So it's 4 basic steps that I walk people through to make it so simple and clear cut to get the results that they are looking for. So the thing that I love the most about this process is that it is created to be unique to you and what you need for your unique personality, for your unique offers, and to attract those people who are really called to be in your path and to be your specific client. Have you ever went through something like whether it's a training or an event or a seminar or whatever, that you come out of it and you're like, I don't feel like that was for me at all. That you felt like I didn't get anything from that. Have you ever been there? I'm seeing a lot of head nods. Yes. Yeah, me too. I believe, I hold this belief that God has people set up for us to serve and to help based off of the journey we walk through. God has placed people in our path for us to help them walk through their journey. And so I think that as coaches, if we're trained and taught like cookie cutter, like copy paste, like do this, do this, do this, do this, you're being robbed from the special gift and creativity and uniqueness that you have inside of you that needs to be brought out. I get so frustrated when I hear, man, I'm just going for it today. I hope you guys are okay with that. I get so frustrated when I hear, and maybe why I'm laughing, because I'm like, okay, maybe I feel like Holy Spirit's like, this is why you get so frustrated, because I've been there. I've done it. I've totally been through this of, by the way, tell me, have you ever heard this before? Find somebody who has what you want and do what they do. Put in the chat, yes, if you've heard that before. Shay says more than I want. Yes. Yes. Alicia, yes. 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 Christy, multiple times over. Shay, yes. Here's the thing. It's not bad advice. Jamie says yes. It's totally not bad advice. It's beautiful advice until you hit a level where that only works for so far, right? And this is from my experience of it's what I needed to get the momentum and the ball rolling of like, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. But then at that point, right? Like I've heard so many people. I mean, I've heard so many people say this. I'm not even going to say, I mean, I've heard Tony Robbins say it. I've heard Danny Johnson say it. Like I've heard all of these, everybody says that, right? But here's the thing. I like to take that to another level. And I know some of you have even heard this before of, if you really want to go next level and bring out that creativity, that unique little spark and uniqueness that's in you, that's going to separate you from all the other people that's around you, is to find somebody who has what you want and think like they think. Right? Because doing what they do will only get you so far. That's not unique to you. Right? Maybe it is, but majority of the time it's not going to be. So like I said in the beginning, of ideas in equal ideas out, to find what somebody else does can be of value. But if you believe that you need to copy and paste that and do the same thing, you're robbing yourself from your personal creativity and your uniqueness and your spark that has to be in there coming out to attract the people who God already has waiting for you to bring it out. Are you following with me? Give me a head nod if you're like, yes, this resonates with you. Okay, cool. Marianne, doing what they do didn't work for me. It didn't feel right for me. Yes, right. Oh my gosh, I've been there for the first like 8 years of my like entrepreneurial journey, I guess you could say, in like doing my own thing. I did that for like 8 years. And I got so frustrated that I wasn't seeing results past like a certain place. And it became literally over the past couple of years, it became so clear to me of like, that works, but it only gets you so far. It only gets you so far. And then you've got to break to new levels. And that's where I love that you guys are the ones here with this, because that's where it's like, okay, it's time for the next version of myself to come out. And this is how this step one of this blueprint is how you're going to bring that out. It's how you're going to figure that out uniquely to you. Okay, so I got off on a tangent with that for a minute, but I hope that served you. I'm super passionate about that because that belief held me back for so long. And I'm like, no, like I'm not letting that happen to the people that I work with anymore. Yes, Shay, yes, it did. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so back to my notes because that was like a tangent that wasn't even in there. Where am I? Okay. Yes. Okay. So before I really had this piece established for me, like I was constantly unsure of what I should be doing or felt like I was constantly missing something. Like I kind of had this like lack, like what am I missing? What am I doing wrong energy? It was like throwing spaghetti at the wall and like just seeing what would stick. The clarity and the confidence was something that was not there. Okay. So after having this blueprint in place and what was like shown to me that I walked through, it made it so simple. It really, for me, just takes a lot of the questioning out of everything. And it helps me to operate at a more confident place. How many of you would like to feel more confident as a coach? Like throw a yes in the chat if you want to be more confident as a coach. Yes. Shay says yes. Janice, yes. Alicia, yes. Christy, for sure. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Jamie, yes. Christy, yes. Gina, yes. Oh, I love that you guys are like throwing these. I love this energy. Keep it coming. Thank you. So obviously, before we can do, okay. So this is actually like getting into step one a little bit deeper. Before we can do anything else, we have to evaluate, okay, which this is step one. That was all kind of preface to the whole blueprint, but step one to the blueprint is to evaluate. So evaluate where you are and where you want to go. Evaluate the beliefs that are there that are keeping you from accomplishing what it is you want to accomplish, right? This is like typical, like every coach knows this, right? You can never get where you want to go if you don't know where you are first. Like so many times we're like, oh, I know where I want to go, but we don't do the work and get clear of where we are now. Like, how can we really, and then we get frustrated because it's like, well, I'm not getting there. And it's like, yeah, you don't even know where you're stinking starting from. Like, let's get some clarity around that. Because for a lot of people, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but a lot of people don't want to really look at that because it's kind of painful sometimes. It's like, no, I don't really, it's like a bank account that like isn't super great. It's like, I know it's not great, but I don't want to give it like full attention. Like I'll just leave it, but like I know where I want to go. It's like, no, you have to do the uncomfortable, painful work, right? So, okay. Then we move on to step number 2, which is creating. So obviously as a coach, you need to be able to tap into your creative thinking. I already went into a tangent with this, so I don't need to go into it a whole lot more. But this, with that creativity that I was talking about of finding that inside of you, you need that to create offers, to create group coaching programs, to have that creative side of you that God placed inside of you to come out in a unique way that works with the way that God made you and the people that he has placed in your path, right? So without having this unique step in here, which I want to say this too, as a coach, the creativity part of this also isn't being like, well, you have to have a group coaching program, or you have to have this mastermind, or you have to have like an evergreen thing or whatever. It's like, you get to decide what that is for you. You get to decide, like, maybe I don't want to do a group coaching program. Maybe I don't want to do one-on-one calls. Like, this is where it goes into like, okay, find somebody, don't do what they do, think the way that they think, because using the thought process for yourself, you're going to get to the place of like, oh, this is my flow state. This, like, one-on-one calls, that's my flow state. That's my gifting. Or like, no, group, that's my gifting. Or no, like teaching in a, a course, doing modules and selling a course, like that's my gifting. And being okay with that and being able to run and flourish with it versus feeling like, well, I should be doing this, or I was taught that I should be doing this, right? Like that, I'm trying to find my words for this. Don't let what somebody intends to be good teaching become a hindrance because of a subconscious rule that's placed there. Does that make sense? That was something that held me back for a long time, was feeling like I was like, follow the rules, like do what you're taught and you'll have success. But the intention of the person that was teaching me was for it to work for me. But what if it didn't actually work for me? Then I was stuck in the belief that I need to do this to be successful, when in all reality, I didn't. She did, but I didn't, right? Like that was her success path. And so she taught me to do that because it worked for her. But what if that's not my path? Like, what if that doesn't work for me the same way? What if I don't have the same giftings? What if I don't have the same, right? Like, yes, That's where I'm at. Evaluation for a whole year, finding my creativity for going forward. Yes, Marianne, so good. Magic pill, one size. Exactly, Gina, right? Of like it, I wish it worked that way, but it doesn't. Like it just does not at all, right? Like if only it would be that easy. Same with like getting to a perfect body. It's like, can you just give me the pill? And it's like, no, dang it. I wish, right? Like if only. But this is where it's fun. And this is where we get to like play with the Holy Spirit and like have like a kid like energy with this of like, dude, this is supposed to be fun. I know I just said dude on a training. What, that's okay. That's just how I talk. Dude, if only it could be fun like my 6 and my 3-year-old that get to just go play. It's like, why can we not bring that same energy to this? Like, what if it actually could be that fun? Anyways, so without having this unique step in here, like this literally, I feel like is like the juicy fun part. It's like without having this in here and the way that I will help you walk through it, you will not be able to tap into what's inside of you to bring it out into the world. And ultimately you will just become another cookie cutter coach out there that's speaking to nobody. So you need, I just said that very like bluntly and bold, like you're going to be speaking to nobody because you're trying to become something that you're not, right? So you need the creative, unique spin on your personal business. Okay. Not only your business, but your way of coaching, your way of attracting and magnetizing people to you. Sound good? Okay. Jamie says, do not place someone else's rules on my path for business. Yeah, so good. Our uniqueness is what draws them to us. Shay, amen, girl. Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. Throw a 3 in the chat if you're ready for step number 3 out of 4. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, good. Okay. Then we move on to establish. So this is where step number 3 is establish. This is where I really go into teaching you how to actually get this creative thing that you now have put together. You've now like had awareness around, you now see, you're now like, cool, I get this, I see this. And you have the belief that's backing it up, which was step number 1, right? To get it out to the people, not only to get it to the people, but to get them to see the value of it and want to be a part of what you're doing. This is the skill. Step number 3 is the skill. It's the strategy. That has to be a part of your growth and your coaching business. So step number 2, I like to think of it like this, because this speaks to me, it speaks to some of you. Step number 2 is more like the like feminine energy of it, like the creative, the feminine, like that part of it. Step number 3 is more like the masculine, like the skill, the strategy, the like getting it out there, like making it happen, getting things done, right? Like you have to have both of those to have a successful business. You just do. Right? You have to. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that. So step number 4 is accelerate. So this is where we really make things consistent. This is like the glue to all of these steps of like, okay, these are all good. These steps are cool. But like, what if you do the steps once and you sign a couple clients and then you're done? Like, okay, cool. You got a couple clients, but like, you have to be consistent. You have to do it again, right? You have to like bring all of these things together so that it's not just a one and done type result, but that you see the same result over and over and over again. And it becomes simple, right? Simple. The last thing that I would ever want you to do is to achieve results and then not feel like that you can either maintain them or that you can repeat them. Right? Like that's the worst thing when you have you ever done something where it's like, you like white knuckle to a result and then you get the result and you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't do that again. That was just too much work. And then you're like, well, crap. Now I'm like not worth it. Like I've done that. Alicia says, I want my life to be simple, including my business. Amen, sister. Yes, I've totally done that. This is kind of like not in a business sense, but I've totally done that. And I know many people have, so many clients I've worked with have, of like white knuckling, forcing your way to a result, like physically, whether it's like weight loss or going on a diet or whatever, right? Like you get to a result, but then once you achieve the result, it's like, I can't keep doing what I did to get the result. Like that was exhausting. Like I was starving. I was over exercising. I'm constantly tired. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I look bomb, but like, this ain't worth it. This sucks. Like I've totally been there. So I do not want to see that. And I've also done that with my business too. I don't want to see that happen with your business. So that's where this last step is accelerate, of where we can simplify this process so that it becomes, and that's where the cash flow, the consistent cash flow comes in, of like, okay, we're going to keep this simple. We're going to keep this powerful. We're going to keep this the glue of, we can maintain this. We can repeat this. Okay. This is a key piece that has to be there to accelerate the results that you're achieving. Okay. So I was working with a client who she had this block of not fully believing that she could really do this. Like the belief, she didn't have the belief that she really had what it took to become a successful coach. She kept self-sabotaging herself constantly, like finding other things to do instead of the actual activities that would move her business forward. Like the further and further she went down this path, the more she stopped believing in herself, the worse it got. Like, the more you put time and distance in between something, the more you get in your head, the more defeated she started feeling, wondering like, was this really going to pay off? Like, am I really going to be able to do this? You know how when you Jamie's like, you're spying on me. Yes, girl, I'm in your house. It's fine. Anyways, you know how when you should be doing something to grow your business, like, in the back of your mind, you should be doing things, but you keep finding other things that seemed more important at the time to do instead. Like, for example, you have a junk drawer that all of a sudden like is super intense, needs to be cleaned out or organized, or you have like a load of laundry that's been there for like 2 days, but like all of a sudden can't go another minute without being folded. Like you have all these things of like, oh, well, my environment's kind of messy. Like I've got to clean the environment before I can actually sit at my computer desk to be able to focus, because if it's cluttered around me, then I can't focus. So I got to clean the clutter first, and then I can sit down and focus. And then it's like, our brains are so stinking smart at like making this seem legit. Like, have you ever been there? Put a me in the comments if you've been there. She says the huge pile of laundry. Yes, I've totally been there. Yes. Oh yeah. So many times. So many times. Alicia says me. Janice. Yes. Yes. Gina, me. Jamie. Yes. Yeah. So you're not alone. First of all, I've been there so many times. This client who I've worked with, this was like a huge thing for her. So we started working together, and I helped guide her through this blueprint. And she's now in the place of actually believing that it's possible. Not only believing that it's possible, but believing that it's possible for her. There's a difference, right? There's a difference between believing that it's possible and actually believing that it's possible for you. So walking her through this, she's no longer letting herself get sidetracked and like self-sabotage herself from what would actually bring in more income to her business. She has this new level, and because of this new level of vision, this new level of belief, she has this new level of vision that she hadn't had previously. She's certain with where she's going and why she's doing it. She's at a whole new level with her confidence that she did not have before. And when your vision is strong and clear enough, the how takes care of itself. Like, did you catch that? When your vision is strong and clear enough, the how takes care of itself. The laundry, the junk drawer, I'm hungry, I got to go make food first. Like all the things that come up, not saying that we shouldn't do that. We need to eat, but you get what I'm saying? Like all of these things that come up, when your vision is so crystal, so clear, and your belief is there that's backing it up, that stuff doesn't come and bark at you near as much. Or if it does, you tell it to shut up and go lay down. You know what I mean? Like, I'm laughing because my mother-in-law has these annoying little Chihuahua dogs that like just come and bark all the time. And I'm like, sometimes I feel like my thoughts are like those Chihuahua dogs, like annoying, like barking at me. And I'm like, no, go lay down, like, shut up. Have you been listening to me tell my puppy that? Maybe, Shay. I might have the same experience as you. Okay, so good. Marianne, me, stuff gets organized at those times. I'm learning that. Yes. And it's like, yeah, I totally can relate. So a lot of times we can get so stuck on the how, and it's actually the internal vision and why you want this that you really need to dig into a bit more, right? And maybe that's there for you, But if it's not driving you enough, if it doesn't have that like spark and that zing to it enough, then it's possible that maybe it just needs a little more clarity around it. Maybe it needs a little more like updating. Maybe it needs a little bit more like fluffing up. You know what I mean? Tap into the feeling and the energy around that, because that will give you a clear picture of like, okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I need. Okay. Okay. How are we feeling? I know I'm talking. Do you guys ever listen to like books on Audible at like a faster speed? Like, I feel like I do too. And so I feel like when I talk, I'm like talking at the speed I listen. So I hope you guys are following with me, because I feel like I'm talking super, super fast. How are you feeling? Are you with me so far? Is this resonating with you? Give me a yes in the chat and just tap in with me and tell me how you're doing. I want to tap in before I move to the next. Yes, yes, yes. So good. Gina, yes. Jamie, yes. Janice, yes. So good. Thanks, you guys. So one more thing I want to share with this. When I was starting to sign more clients, my husband was working a full-time job, and I at the time had 2 young kids. I was really struggling with finding the time and the resources to make it work. And I mentioned this a little bit before, but like the questions of like, okay, well, when am I going to sign clients? Like, when am I going to have time to work on creating content? When am I going to have time to like do all these things? You know, when you come up against a problem and you just feel like there's no way that it's going to work, like your brain literally just shuts off of like, there's no way, like I can't do it. It just kind of shuts you down from being able to tap into any creative resourcefulness. Like that part of your brain, that creative thinking, problem solving, unique Holy Spirit flowing part of your brain is literally not working. It's like the lights are turned off. It's like a room that the lights are just turned, there's no power. Like, have you ever been there? I was there, and I was in the place where I was reinvesting pretty much all of my money back into my business in one way or another. And I didn't feel like I had the money to pay for help for the kids, or if I could even find someone I trusted, like, oh, well, there's no way. Like my brain was already coming up with reasons why it wouldn't work. Like, there's no way I can find somebody that I trust to watch my kids. Like, I'm making money, but like, there's no way I'm not going to pay a babysitter. Like, I'm already investing all the money into this. Like, my brain was just going into all these reasons why. My brain was literally, you know how when your brain just gets spiraling into all these negative places to prove to yourself that it's not possible. Like, that's all you see. Your brain's like, okay, yeah, so I'm going to show you proof that what you're thinking is the reality, is the truth, right? That is the point where I put myself through this blueprint. Like, I didn't even know it was a blueprint back then. I just put myself through this system, and I realized, oh my gosh, there are so many options available to me that I didn't even see before. Like, am I going to focus on my resources, which seem very limited right now? Or am I going to focus on my resourcefulness on how I'm going to overcome this? Right? Like, it wasn't a thing of like, I don't think I can. It was a thing of like, oh, I've made the decision. Now I'm going to find the resource because I am going to overcome this. Not can I, but how can I? Right? And that opened up, literally, I feel like it's a door to a new room in our brain. I think of like a brain picture, and there's like literally a part of it that when we're like in like defeated mode, it's like it's like a robot. My little 6-year-old obsessed with robots right now, and he has this little robot that it will just, the power will shut off to it if it doesn't move for a few minutes, and it'll say like taking a nap or something, and it'll just like and like go to sleep. I literally feel like that's how our brains go sometimes, of like when we're not tapping into that creative like resourcefulness, how can I solve this problem versus I'm stuck, I can't do it. We need to turn the lights back on to that part of our brain, right? So who's ready to ditch their excuses, figure out a way to be more resourceful? Type me in the comments. Like, let me know if that's you. Shay, down the rabbit hole. Zombie state. Oh my gosh, Alicia, that's so true. It feels like such a zombie state. That's a good way to put it. Yes. I've used this same blueprint to help me navigate through every single roadblock that I've come across to overcome. So, do you like when others share like new beliefs and ideas with you that feel empowering? I kind of like, the reason why I like to share beliefs with you, because I feel like I said in the beginning, ideas in equal ideas out, right? I like to think like, okay, what thoughts are working for you to move forward, to like overcome these things? So I wanted to just, share a few of those with you. to help get ideas and get those wheels turning. It's like getting that light switch turned on into that room in your brain that's like options, creativity. Like I like to think of all of the solutions to every problem that we have is already it's already created. Like I 1000% believe that. Like that's something that like you can't convince me otherwise. I believe that. So I like to think of it as like outer space in a way. Like I'm laughing because I'm like, I literally feel like my 6-year-old is programming me how to come up with these like ideas in my head with like outer space and robots, and it's okay. I like to think of like every solution that I need, every idea, every answer is out there floating in space. And all I have to do is open that part of my brain to be able to tap into it, to be able to access it. And when I can do that, then my brain opens up to ideas. You guys know how this works. Are you following with me so far? Okay, cool. All right. Okay. We're about to round up. Okay. Roll your shoulders back, sit up straight, take a deep breath. We're about to tie a bow around this thing. Okay. You guys with me? So first of all, okay, no, I don't need to go in that. I'm like, okay, for sake of time, I'm actually doing really well on time. How many of you have learned that information alone won't bring success? Like how many of you know that that's true? Throw a yes in the chat if you believe that's true. Yes. Yes, yes. Cool. How many of you have heard that information plus action will bring you success? Type a me in the chat if you believe that that's true. Type a me in the chat. Yes, yes, yes. Information without implementation. So true. So true. Yeah. And that one thing too, with that being said, I like to come to this, and I want this to not just be, this is why I'm having like conversation with this. Like, I want this to be not just information, but transformation, right? Like there's one thing, I spent 8 years of my journey just getting information, and the last couple of years actually seeing the transformation. It's like, there's a difference. There's a very big difference between just getting information and actually getting transformation from that information you're getting. Yeah, head nod. You guys been there? I'm getting like energy of like, yes, I'm not the only one that's been through that. Yeah. So let me ask you this. How many of you have ever read a book and then like did nothing with it? Have you ever done that? Yeah, all the time. Everyone's like, yes. Okay, me too. Yeah. How many of you? Too many times. Same, Christy. Same. How many of you have looked up, this is so me, maybe you can relate. How many of you have ever looked up like awesome, healthy recipes, even created like a Pinterest board, save them to like an Instagram, food folder, and then like never went back and made them? Yes. Like raise your hand if that's you. Janice was like, yes, me too. Shay, you looked at my Pinterest, didn't you? I can't even look at my own stinking Pinterest when I put things in there sometimes. I'm not looking at yours, but I can imagine I'm not alone in this. That's so funny. Well, praise God, we're not alone in this. Okay. So how many of you want to actually implement this to actually make some money? Put a me in the chat if you're like, yes, me. Alicia, I always wonder why I even pin anything. It's that dopamine hit in the moment. It's like, oh, I get a feel good like hit. It's like, that feels good, but dang it, I never go back to those. Now I'm like, okay, well, what Pinterest board do I need to go to make dinner tonight? Now that I'm thinking about it, right? That's funny. We're all going to get on Pinterest after we get off here. Probably not, actually. Say me. Okay, cool. Yes, me. Okay. How many of you want help doing that? Going deeper into this so that you can really master it. Say mastery. Put mastery in the comments if you want to go deeper and have help doing this. Mastery. Alicia says mastery. Janice, mastery. Shay, mastery. So good. Okay, cool. I would love to help you do that. So, I think back to, quickly, I want to share this. I think back to someone who I worked with a while back who we talked about exactly what it was that she needed to do in order to grow her business and to have more cash flow coming in. Like literally, we identified the steps. She heard all the information. She was like, cool, I'm going to go change. I'm going to do the thing. She went off to do it on her own. And I don't think she's even coaching anymore. Like, I don't think she even actually has a coaching business anymore. And it breaks my heart when I see coaches who have vision, who have like drive and want to but they let themselves stay in their own way. And they don't actually get the thing off the ground and experience that feeling of seeing the transformation in themselves, but in other people that they get to work with. And that's why I have created the Cash Flow Coach Live, where I'm going to go deeper to show you how to get on the fast track to creating more impact and also generating more income for you and for your business and for your family. Plus, I will also be taking questions all throughout to really flesh out any obstacles in your way to really understanding this. So I'm going to put the link right here in the comments. Oops, that's the Zoom link. Just kidding. I forgot that I copied it for Marianne. To join the Zoom right now, please. No, here's the actual link. So here's what this is. This is a 4-hour live event, literally a week from yesterday. So it's on April 1st. We are going to be going deep with this. We're going to have conversation. We're going to be I'm going to be getting into your brain. The link right here, grab it while it's here, because once we finish this, once we close this Zoom, it's going to be over. But happening Saturday, April 1st, starting, I believe the time's on the page. I don't know exactly what we decided. I think it's 10 a.m. Mountain Time. But yeah, we're going to be meeting in 2 weeks. I really want to go deep with this with you guys to help you to see what you can really do with the creativity that you have inside of you. So before we jump off, do you guys have any questions for me at this point? I know I talked like 4x speed, like you're listening to an Audible book right now. Hopefully you followed along with me enough. But I loved spending time with you guys. If you have questions, throw them at me. Otherwise, you all know where to find me. Thank you for being so amazing and having conversation with me back and forth here. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys. Literally, it's in a week. I've been planning this for so long and it's happening in like 6 days. So April 1st, I love you guys. That's on your birthday, Jamie. Yeah, Alicia, go ahead. Question. You can open up your mic or you can just throw it in the chat, up to you. Oh, Christy, you are so welcome.
I just went to the link and it's the same link as we used to sign up for this call.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, thanks for telling me that. Let me see. Cashflowcoachlive.com. Which one did I put there? Cashflowcoachlive.com. Bummer. What happened? Okay. So the cool thing, I say cool, it's cool for me. Cool thing about this, I didn't do all this back end stuff because that's not my strength. So what I'm going to do is that's going to be the same link. I know that, I'm like 99% sure of that. That's going to be the same link. I'm going to message the person who does all of this for me and just make sure that they're in the right place. So maybe once we jump off, give it like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes and then try it again. Should be the same one. Otherwise, I am going to be setting out the recording of this. So if for some reason anything at all changes, you will get the new link on that email. Sound good? And any updates, anything that way will be on there. Cool. Thanks, Alicia. I'm so glad you told me this. I wonder why no one's coming. Well, it's because the link didn't work. I love this. All right, you guys. Any other questions? I'm here for it. You guys, I finished before a full hour. I'm telling you, you can finish a 4-hour book in like 2 hours if you listen to it super fast. It's a successful person's strategy, right? We got to be smart with our time. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you for spending your Sunday afternoon with me. I would love to hear your thoughts, your feedback. If you have any questions, you know where to find me, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Bye, guys.